everyone, for our next presentation of today's Marketing Showcase Online. Thanks for joining me again. If you checked into the first one, sorry, I'm just going to go over a few bits here, but if this is your first webinar, thank you so much for joining us today. Just going to go over a few bits about Zoom before we get underway. I'm not going to waffle on for too long. Please say hello in the chat to let me know you're there and everything's working okay. And if you want to use the chat to talk to your other attendees or myself with any questions about the event, you can do that. Separate to the chat, we have the Q&A function. I'm going to be doing a Q&A session with Adam if we have time at the end of his presentation. So if this brings up anything, just use the Q&A to pop any questions in there. So today, I'm joined by Adam Oldfield from Force 24, who's going to be talking about how to 12 times your marketing ROI. If you've seen any of Adam's talks, you know they're super high energy. I kind of feel like the warm-up act that comes on here to hype you all up before Adam comes on and does his marketing star jumps and all that sort of stuff. He's a great speaker, and you guys are really in for a good talk here. So without further ado, I want to introduce Adam Oldfield from Force 24 for his talk on how to 12 times your marketing ROI.
Morning, Ash.
Morning, Adam. You all right?
I'm not bad. You've built me up there into perhaps something that I'm not, but let's see what.
I'm trying to do hype, man. Like when you go to a concert. None of us have been able to go to a concert recently, so that's kind of my job, like a DJ, to give you some hype before we start.
I've got you. I'll do my best though. Yeah, morning, everybody. Let me first of all start. Hopefully, Ash, you've not gone just yet. I just need you to verify that you can see my screen. I've had a bit of a problem with this.
What?
Am I sharing the right screen there? Does it say how to 12x?
Got that good.
Perfect.
Good. Enjoy. See you later.
Perfect. Yes. Okay, guys. Lovely to be here with you today. I was rather hoping that today it would be the first of the physical events back in the real life where we stand in front of you and we chat and we meet afterwards. And unfortunately, that wasn't to be. We've got a different plan, but never mind. It is what it is. But this is one of my favorite talks, and this is one of the talks that I've sort of had in the locker for quite a lot of years, and really sorry, I'll just move the video over there. And it's one of the ones that I do get quite passionate about. So as Ashley said about the star jumps and the energy and all the rest of it, I just get really amped when I start talking about this stuff. A lot of it is from our own experience, and what my talks tend to be about is all about really my experience or our experiences that I've been directly related to, and it's where I've got to be in my bonnet about something. And a lot of people tend to share a similar opinion, and all I'm doing is sort of showing you that. But on that basis, it's important to know that I'm ultimately here on behalf of Force 24, who are a marketing automation platform. I don't know if you can see that. That is Force 24, marketing automation platform, and we're here to sell our stuff. So it sort of leads me on to one of my points. So before I do that, my name's Adam Oldfield. I've been the managing director. I've been the marketing director. I am the managing director now, of Force 24. Before that, I was the marketing director, and I went on a really interesting journey, and that's partly what I'm going to share with you today. Force 24, yeah, whatever, boring stuff. You can read this all later, download it later. We're one of the fastest growing automation platforms in the UK, but whatever. And here's what I was just about to talk to you about, and I remembered there was a slide about it. So marketers, you guys are all faced with an interesting challenge, and that challenge is that we're fed information from the world, often from suppliers like ourselves, all giving you an agenda and often supplied without evidence. So my job here today is try to make this as balanced as I possibly can, remove any sales pitches, try to give evidence as well to say, look, this is what we did and this is what happened. Who should we trust? That's the big question. Before I go on any further, can I just ask one question? Can anybody just type into the chat if they've seen one of my talks before, yes or no? If you wouldn't mind, that would be absolutely lovely. If anybody has, superb. So, okay, thank you. Into the chat we go. So, quite a few people on today. That's good. But it looks like 40 responses have come through. Oh, no, there's more. Bloody hell. Around about 45 responses, there or thereabouts, and I'll thank you for indulging me on that one. I'm going to come on to that later. Interesting little experiment. Next thing, the problem. So the problem as I see it now is a lot of the guys out there right now, a lot of you guys out there right now, ultimately in a world that has changed so much, go back 10 years and ultimately you're doing a lot of the same stuff. And I want to say, look, some of that stuff's changed. Some of it is different tools. Some of it is the same tools. We're just using it differently. And I want to just say, look, it's time for a break. Things have changed and we do need to focus on new things. So I'm setting the scene here. Right. So in order to 12x, this is the amuse-bouche, as I always like to say, but we're not into the meat yet, the main course just yet. This is just a little warm-up. This is, in order to be able to 12x, you need to be able to measure. And people often say to us, you know, so how do you quantify success of automation? It's really difficult. And actually, it is measured in time, it's measured in productivity, it's measured in ROI. There's loads of different ways. But in order for you to be able to quantify whether what we're going to do today is go through things that we did, and you're going to look and see how you could relate them. But in order to see if it did work, you need to know where you are today and what is it that's important. And we wrote a guide a while ago. It's called Killer Marketing Metrics. It's in 424.co.uk lab/downloads. It's all free. You can have it. There's loads of other guides in there, including this one. And it gives you some things to look at in terms of how to measure successes. Quite an interesting piece, but you've got to be able to measure. And then anybody that did see any of my previous talks, you'll know that this is my go-to staple. And as a marketeer, one of the most important things, so outside of whether I've 12x'd anything yet or not, if I am not energetic and passionate with a dose of empathy, then I'm not doing my job properly. This is who I am. This is who marketeers need to be to become successful. They need to understand their customers. They need to understand their business, and they need to be able to relay it to their prospects and to their customers with this dose of empathy. It's really important that I'm energized and passionate. Do not stand for second best. You must have heard me say this 100 times before. Do not stand for second best. If artwork comes back from a creative, or if it's artwork I've done, and it's not, when I sit back and look at it, the best thing I've ever seen, don't send it. I've told you that many people have related this to the comedian on stage. Imagine you're a comedian on stage, not a marketeer sat behind a desk in an office or at home at the moment. I'm a comedian on stage, giving my heart and soul out to the audience in front of me. Would I put out a joke that I knew wasn't my best work? No way. I'd die 1,000 deaths up there. But why is that different? The difference is we can't see the audience. That's the only difference. Remove that cloak of anonymity and put yourself bare and say, I'm not going to stand for anything that's not perfect. Really important. Final point is what I call a squint test. And the squint test is all about sitting back, looking at any artwork I've done, be it a landing page, be it a website, paid ad, whatever. Sit back in my chair, look at it, squint, and if I get the picture, it works. And the idea being that people don't care about what you're putting out. That's largely the problem that we have. You know, we're loving what we're doing potentially, but people just, whatever. You know, and it's if you do the squint test, that puts you into that mindset. I've got to stop marketeers thinking that they can make people think. They can't. They just have to work with what they can get. And the squint test largely parallels that level of intention. I'll show you it later on. The final thing, I make the difference. I am the glue, I am the magic, and I am the energy. That is the bit you can absolutely control. So you are the magic. You make the difference. You are the energy. Remember that statement. Marketing-led organizations are proven to be more successful. Even if your organization isn't there just yet, it will be one day. So let's lead the charge. 6 steps to marketing, ROI, heaven, etc. Okay, number one, the first one is I see a lot of marketeers, and what we've not done is understood our objective. And this comes down largely to segmentation as well. A lot of people talk about segmentation, etc. And if with tight segmentation, it's great because I can get really granular on an audience, but still the objective needs to be firmly understood. So stakeholder comes to me and says, oh, we just released a new product. Great. Okay, we need to sell it. Awesome. Now I need to get clever because I know my guys over here. I know my prospects. I know what they like. I empathize with them because I'm a good marketeer. I understand my audience. I understand what the world's happening. And I've got to convert that sell more stuff into a meaningful objective. And I'll show you some techniques in which we can do that later on with. But that needs to become, for example, increase base lead score in northern contacts, educate lapsed customers about it. So who am I going to talk to about the new products first? What is their reason for being, etc., etc. And I'm going to come on to a little technique that we use to really simplify that in a moment. But the point that I'm making is you've got to think when you're executing your next campaign, your email campaign, next email campaign, let's do that. Yeah. You're executing your next email campaign. Stop think, have I actually got a really clear objective of what I am wanting to happen and what I'm asking you to do? Quite often the answer is no, and I see that quite often. It's evident usually in the artwork that you've presented. So once I understand my objective, I can give a laser beam focus for you on what you want to do or what I think you need to do next in order to get onto my commercial ladder. And so you can ensure your artwork and collateral laser beam focus. And look at this. Would you like to download our price guide? And again, I'm going to come on to this because this is a really interesting topic. That's what we call a middle of the funnel comms piece. What's a middle of the funnel comms piece? Well, middle of the funnel comms piece is activation messaging. There's a difference between brand and activation, and that's activation messaging. So stay tuned because in about 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about that. That's a really interesting piece. But when you look at that, we've got a very clear objective, what we want this person to do. And we've laser beamed in on how to do it. We've removed the user's brain. It's a very, very simple, just click that green button sort of approach. Less is more. Now, Microsoft have released a number of guides over the years. Microsoft basically own the world. We know that. It's the IT world, that is. And they own one of the largest proportions of commercial email infrastructure, which means that when you send an email, 50% of it goes to Microsoft, 50% of it goes to Google. Yeah, there are some little ones on the side, mail servers. So that means that pretty much 50% of every email that you send comes to Microsoft. And they're like, well, what the hell is this? And so they've released some guidance, and that guidance was largely along the lines of simplification, commodification of the assets. Less is more. And they're basically saying 10 words, 1 button. It's like, oh my God, 10 words on an email, no way. And the point is, you don't actually have to do that. But know where you are on the scale is the key. So if I'm producing any artwork assets, and Microsoft is saying 10 words, and I've got 1 billion words on an email, know where I sit. So it's not saying don't do it. It's just saying know where I sit. The other point is 1 button. Why 1 button? Why would that make a difference to Microsoft? Well, they waste horsepower on checking links. Check every link. Make sure everything's okay. No viruses. So 1 button makes that a lot easier for them. But it also acts as a way to say that you know your audience. I've given you 1 thing to do because I've segmented my audience. I know you're going to like this, so click it here. Now, don't get me wrong. Retail e-commerce is totally different. So don't think that it's the same this is B2B, B2C, consumer comms or B2B, any sort of comms in that regard. Just retail e-commerce is slightly different. So let's just focus on those for now. So keeping it really, really simple. This, by the way, again, these are middle of the funnel comms as well, because it's messaging, putting the customer first, enabling marketers to grow. Very ambiguous, isn't it? It's very sort of company oriented. I'm not going to send that to you guys. You don't know us. Why would you want to know about that? So, but again, I'm going to come on to that. The key is simplicity, and that's the bit that I want to really, really preach today. So the next thing is understanding our funnels. Funnels are critical. And when we as marketeers look at our base, we've got to remember a few really important points. The majority of our base, i.e. the total base, is the biggest proportion of the base, obviously. And total base is obviously 100%. That's everybody. That's my mistake. The next thing is non and passive engagers. That means that the majority of people in my base don't look at my emails or don't engage with me. It's always the biggest proportion is not engaging right now. And then we have categories beneath of that of people that are sort of mid-level engagers. They've done a little bit of looking on the website. High-level engagers, they're all over it, but they haven't bought yet or they haven't inquired yet. And then you get the physical inquiries. And again, my point here is to challenge you to say, look, what does your base look like? Where are the big gaps? You see non and passive engagers to low-level engagers. That's a big jump down. Can we do anything, going back to my previous point about laser beaming in, can we do anything to narrow that gap? Now, the point is then, how do I classify these people? How do I know who's a low-level engager and who's a mid-level engager? How do I do it? Well, there's lots of different ways to do it. A really basic way of doing it would be counting the number of clicks in any one period and developing a rolling average. Do it on a spreadsheet if you wanted, but that'd be a really basic way of doing it. But this is where me putting my sales hat back on says, no, because tech products like us have done it for you. We've said, no, you don't need to build spreadsheets. we'll build a lead score methodology. We'll drop it into your account free of charge, and you can use that. And what lead scoring does is it gives us a number on everybody's head in your base of how hot they are or how engaged they are. It's just like the sun. When it stops shining and they stop doing stuff, that number comes down. The sun shines directly on me, the number goes up. And that's based on my engagement as a consumer looking at what you're doing. So we then say, okay, to classify these people, we develop these simple methodologies. If you're in brackets of less than no activity or a lead score of less than 10, we're going to put you in this category. 10 to 40, we're going to put you in that category. So on, so on, so on, so on. And then we have actions on those categories. So we're not saying that, it's not a case that, what I always hate to see is somebody that uses automation to against themselves. And that's usually where we call it direct response. Direct response is you click an email, I'll phone you. I don't like that. I hate that. I like it when I've really understood my funnel. And actually what I've done is I've done things to try and empower you to make a good decision. Not I've forced you into a phone call or something like that. So I really like this approach. It's very soft, it builds gently, and as people keep engaging, we eventually expedite to the sales team. Obviously, why wouldn't we? But the point is, using lead score helps us understand that, and that's important for you to do it. You can do it, like I say, through other ways, counting clicks, counting opens, however else you can classify what people are doing, but we use web tracking and we use lead scoring. It's part of our product. It's how it works. How you do it, well, buy Force24 and then we can do it for you, or you can do it for yourself. But what do we then do? Oh, this is interesting, but it's a bit geeky. So this is very interesting. So what's it worth? All right. So I've showed you that, and this is about 12x in. What's it worth? Well, and when this was written, I think it was June last year, in that particular month, on our website, we created there was 124 demo requests via our website, 124. They convert to business at 24%. 1 in 4 people that see our product buy it, essentially. So that made 30 new customers coming into our business from people physically filling in the form saying, can I have a demo? Awesome, great. Below that, though, we said, well, some people are mid-level engagers, 40 to 70. There's 428 people in that category. They convert to business much lower. It was actually 6.5%, rounded it up to 7, which means, again, 30 pieces of new business. 70 plus lead score, high level, there was 180, which converted at 18% to new business, and that's 32 pieces of business. So what I'm saying is the red in this chart is what you're not doing now, but we are doing. So that's 30 versus 92. So the 92 is the upside. 62 pieces of business have come as a result of classifying our audience, dealing with them appropriately, and then watching what happens. So that is really important stuff. And now I guess really the point of this talk is that's just one of the many strands to the bow. And it was actually pretty critical. And I'd like to spend more time on that. But if anybody wants a demo, we will talk about that on a demo and we'll show you what we did and how it works. But that's really critical. And especially in a B2B environment, pulling people forwards in the pipe is really powerful, not just on email. And in fact, actually, this is the point that I wanted to talk about earlier on. So I've been talking about mid-level funnel stages, high-level engagers, low-level engagers, blah, blah, blah. What do you do differently? Well, your total base gets this brand strategy. So we split it into brand and activation strategies. So everybody gets brand strategies. And brand doesn't mean talking about our brand values. No, it means embodying our brand values, being our brand, doing what our brand stands for. And one of those is educating. Free training and free training and support for life. So we're all about educating our customers, trying to drive value to our customers, trying to help our customers. And so one of our brand strategies is writing great guides and pushing it out to the world. So what we do is how to build perfect plain text nurture emails. Do plain text emails really work? And we're writing guides and we're putting them out there for the world. That's top of the funnel. The prior emails I've been showing you are middle of the funnel. Middle of the funnel is when people engage. We we download that guide. We have a look around the website. We have a bit of a look around. We trigger a threshold. We then trigger a mid-level activation strategy. And an activation strategy is designed to get me from just reading free stuff to, yeah, I'll have a look. But it's not, I'll have a demo. It's, well, let's get you on the path. Perhaps download the price list first. What do you think about the price? Kind of all right. Okay, well, let's move on to the brochure. What do you think about the brochure? Well, now let's go for the demo. And that's how that works. So look at the messaging difference. So I can't point with my mouse, I'm very sorry, and you can't see where I'm pointing on the screen. Look at the messaging difference. Putting the customer first, always. Enabling marketers to grow every day. Would you like to download our price guide? So we've got these sort of messages that are very much about us as a business and your relationship with us as a business and how you get into that relationship with us as a business. So it's about understanding that we've got our top of the funnel comms, which are all about education. It's all about brand. It's all about our values. And we're trying to relate to you in your world. Middle of the funnel, when you've engaged, we try and pull you into our world. And then we start talking about our stuff. But it's all 10 words or less, one simple CTA, easy peasy. Right, understand your data. So this is a bit boring, but it's worth looking at. Sometimes as marketers, again, I think that we forget, we've got to empathize with our customers. We've got to recognize, oh crap, it's school holidays. Open rates are going to be low because it's school holidays. A lot of our customers perhaps are parents, therefore they're going to be doing school stuff, therefore we may have a dip in engagement or something, or it's National Healthy Eating Week. How's that going to affect our open rates? Or how's that going to affect our customer engagement? How's that going to, and I see marketeers kind of oblivious to the world, just looking at their open and click rates, thinking that's the only thing that matters. Well, it isn't. It really isn't. And again, part of that killer marketing metrics guide that we wrote says there's 1,000,001 things. Email and open rates are some of the worst things that you can look at in terms of success management, success monitoring. But what does help is this, and this is what we call audience segment evolution reporting. And this is really geeky, I get that. But what this is doing, this is where we take a segment of data and we understand how it reacts. So we take out the context of email campaigns. Some email campaigns are really good, some are really bad. So we've got to take that context out and just look at the audience for a minute and say, right, okay, well, where did we got in this first chart, the engagement timeline, where we've got high lines, lots of yellow in there, means we're sending lots of email. We're probably not doing a good job in terms of removing or furloughing contacts that aren't engaging. Then when we've got the green popping up, it means that it's good news. We're getting a higher open rate than clicks on the main. Then when we've got big blue sections, it means that we're not talking enough. And there are times when the audience is naturally quite buoyant. There's times when it's naturally quite low. So if this is an audience segment of, I don't know, photocopier companies, whatever, there are times of the year where the photocopier businesses are naturally busy and stop looking at email. There are times when they've got a bit more time. There's times when they're skin. There's times when... And so what I want to do is give you a view of what the audience is doing over the course of the year. And so you can make decisions based on, maybe this time last year was a bad time as well. Maybe it didn't work out. Yeah, this is a good point. So maybe I don't need to beat myself up or beat that artwork up and redesign everything because the audience is just a bit low. But on the right, the chart on the right is what we call the average lead score timeline. If we're using lead scoring to put numbers on everybody's heads, if we just average that for everybody in a segment, automatically all done for you, that would give me a friendship index. Imagine that. So we've got a friendship index. That blue line on the right-hand chart is a friendship index. When it's high, they love us. When it's low, they're not bothered right now. And what we're able to do for every one of our data segments is just look at that chart and see, see the problem. And it's not a case of always backing off. It's about saying, I missed the mark. So it doesn't mean that when I'm busy, you can't talk to me, I'm not going to listen. It means that you just got to understand that and you've got to react to that and you've got to be empathetic to that and provide content that's going to be supportive of that. So I'm talking, this feels like I'm talking about this world that you can't achieve, but it really is there and it's very, very easy to do. And it's more about exclusion than it is inclusion. What I mean by exclusion is, if it's not right for you right now, I'm going to just put you over here. It's fine. I'm going to focus on those that it is right for. So I'm going to focus on the inclusion rather than exclusion. I want all the charts high. Cadence versus spamming. This is an interesting one. Cadence versus spamming. So people, marketers, okay, quick test. Who can remember an email they received yesterday? It's a rhetorical question. Nobody can, unless they got an email from their mum or their dad or something like that. And the reality of it is we commit less than any digital asset to our memory for less than 24 hours. I don't know how that works, and I don't necessarily know that, but I can prove it by the fact that nobody can remember an email we received yesterday. So that says, and again, Microsoft's view is it's the optimum, whether it's B2B, B2C, doesn't matter, 3 times a week. Why is that? 3 times a week. And so there's a difference. We've got cadence, which is the regularity of our comms, versus spamming. So I can send to the right person, a person that wants to see our stuff, an email every day, and they're not going to get bored. Why is that not spamming? Because they wanted it. Now, cadence, regularity, spamming is sending that same email, the same one I wanted, to one of you guys that didn't want it. So that's spamming. And the point is, automation is supposed to be just saying, looking through the data all the time and saying, wow, this guy's not into it right now. Pull him out, put him there. These ones are though. So marketeer working on inclusion, not exclusion. Sorry, exclusion, not inclusion. Let's focus on these guys because these are the ones that are interested. So let's work on this. And before I was talking about the simplicity of email, the commodification of email. And that is actually about 10 words, 1 CTA, because I've got to up my quantity. I've got to go from my 1 email a month, 2 email, whatever it is, to 3 a week. Again, remember, just know where you are on the scale. Doesn't mean you have to do it, just know where you are on the scale. And one of the reasons is mail server reputations are lost in days. You've got an amazing reputation. You stop emailing for 2 weeks, it's gone. It's disappeared. So every time you're starting from scratch. Microsoft want regularity so they can build up a quality score for you. So rather than checking everything you do, they just check that score and say, no, he's pretty good. They're good. Get him through. Whereas every time you send after a couple of weeks, it's new. No idea who this person is. Let's check them again. Send out horsepower, links, etc. They get annoyed. They don't get annoyed. They're computers. They never get annoyed. But the point that I want to make is cadence versus spamming. Cadence is the regularity. Microsoft recommend 3. You can't remember anything you received yesterday, so let's not stress about this. Let's simplify what we send and keep up the charge on relevant comms to people that are engaging. Take the others out. Let's focus on those that are engaging. How do we do that? We use automation. Messaging and content. Right, messaging and content. I'm going to skip that one, but I am going to come straight back to this. And this is the whole point. Sorry, the technique that we use is we focus on the title. So stakeholder comes to us and says, we want to release a new thing. And we say, oh, great, because you know what? We're a marketing department that's not run ragged by the stakeholders. We can take that, we'll roll it into what we're doing right now, and that's going to work. And what we do is we brainstorm ideas. By brainstorming ideas, what I mean is we say, okay, think of some good ideas. That's it. There's no substance, there's nothing. So the ultimate killer marketing metrics of 2018. Wow, this is an old talk. How to write the perfect email nurture sequence. The ultimate guide to marketing automation. There's nothing behind these things yet. We just know it's something we can talk about. And those titles are the things that we then say, okay, stakeholder, so you've just released a new button that now makes a monkey jump out or whatever. That's fine, brilliant. Okay, well, that works beautifully with our ultimate killer marketing metrics guide. So we're going to bundle the two together and we're going to talk about the two together at our brand tier. So we start with just the words, no substance behind it. And we go away and we build it. And what we believe in is the commodification of our assets means that an email should take me 5 minutes to build. That's our internal guideline, 5 minutes. Landing page should take me 15 minutes. So that means I've got all the time in the world to focus on content. And we love content. We spend thousands on it of our time, labor. It's mostly our own effort. But we focus on content because we've commodified everything else. So email is just the bait. Keep it simple. Cadence is key. Regularity of communications is critical. Campaign execution. I want to tell you about something right now, which is called the 1 in 6. You've got to remember 1 in 6 commercial emails. Hold on. Try to remember 1 email. Yeah, we've done that. That's fine. We're here. I want to remember the rule of 6. You can download this. Read the slides I'm skipping. I'm just trying to keep ahead of time so we finish. Rule of 6. We need to say something 6 times. Free training and support for life. I say that 6 times on most of my webinars. I don't think I've done it properly this time. I think I'm only on 2. So we need to say something 6 times. If I want it to land, I need to say it 6 times. And we use automation for that because you can't do this manually, because I can't say the same thing 6 times to people that did it on the first time, whatever it was I asked them to do. So automation is just about just streamlining what I'm doing. It's you set the charge, you set the strategy, you recognize Microsoft needs to up the cadence. You recognize that if I'm going to say something, I have to say it 6 times. There's the rule of thank yous in the not-for-profit sector, which says you have to say thank you 6 or 7 times, I think it is. Somebody that's donated in order to get them to a regular giver. Very interesting. But in everybody else's world, in your world, it's the rule of 6. So we need to Need to round up. I knew it was coming. The rule of 6, it's really, really critical. But look, here's the thing. I'm going to go quickly finish up on a social experiment. In the first social experiment, I need you guys, audience participation at this point. And the thing is, I'm going to ask you 3 really simple questions. And we've done this before. It really, really worked. And what I need is a simple yes or no answer to the questions that I'm going to ask. So I need you all to focus on it. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, really simple, into the chat. YES-NO. That's all it is. That's really all it is. Last time we did this, there was a really interesting response that came. So I'd really appreciate anybody that can type yes or can type no, does it into the chat. So the first question, and don't jump out of order. First question, as I asked them, are you ready? First question is coming, yes or no. Who is working from home today? Yes or no? Go, 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 go. Wow. We have literally blown the lights out. That's amazing. Fantastic. So there is a lot of comments come in just now. Okay, next question. Here we go. Yes or no answer. Who feels less connected from the commercial world from working from home? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Coming in like wildfire. Who feels less connected? I feel less connected to my colleagues. I feel less connected. Those of you that said they're not working from home, that's fine. And the final question, who's enjoying my presentation? Yes, 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 yes. It's all right. No, that's not included. Yes or no, yes or no. Off we go. I can't actually see the answers anymore. Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for indulging me on that. And the reason I've done that, I wanted to show you, because right at the very beginning, I asked you a question, but I didn't ask it in a way that embodies what I've been talking about. I asked you a very simple question, who has seen me talk before? And we got 30 or 40 responses or something like that. And that was good. So very, very good. I actually wasn't bothered about the answer. I was actually bothered about the fact that I didn't announce the question properly. I didn't really give much instruction. I didn't give you what I was going to do with that. There we go. Now, I have now asked you, and I talked about it 6 times. I don't know if you noticed, but I said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that 6 times. Yes or no, type yes. And I told you exactly what I needed you to do. Really simple, not give me shades of gray. It's yes or no, yes or no. There's only one option. And I told you about it. I got everybody ready on the keyboards, off they go. And then when I asked the questions, the response was 10x what I got on that first question. So now, actually, what I should be doing is reading each one of those answers and responding appropriately to each one. Those of you working from home, those of you feel a little bit disenfranchised, those of you that did enjoy my presentation, what am I going to do with you guys? How am I going to treat you differently to those that said, no, I'm at the office. Do you feel less good? Nah, you enjoyed my presentation? Nah. How am I going to treat you differently? So understand that the data is there. We just have to ask it and we just have to play the game. What I would say is we've run out of time, and I'm so sorry, Ash. Are you there? Are you kicking me off now?
I'm there. I'm just like stressing in the background, like, oh God, we got another webinar coming on. Adam, look, it's a brilliant talk, and I wanted to say to the visitors, I know you've got a QR code on the last slide for the whole talk. Look how many pages you got left. So, firstly, if anyone wants,
one of the best I've done so far in terms of getting through.
If anyone wants to read the slides in full, obviously scan that QR code. Adam is actually one of our regular speakers, and he offers up new content every month. So if you do want to, catch another one of Adam's talk, we're doing another one of these events on the 8th of December. So make sure you register and sign up to that one. And the last thing I just wanted to say as well, you mentioned it at the start about the demo and going through some of this on sort of a demo. So I've set up a poll in the background, which I'm going to launch now. So if anyone wants to continue this conversation whilst also seeing Force 24's brilliant marketing automation system, please put yes, please. And I'll make sure Adam and the team get all that data and they can set that up afterwards. So I'll leave that going in the background. Adam, look, I do want to thank you. I had so much great feedback in the chat saying, brilliant talk, and you're always a great speaker for us. So I really appreciate you taking the time to go through that. I hope our visitors took lots from it. To the visitors who joined us today, thank you so much again for the second webinar of today's Marketing Showcase Online. We have another one in less than 10 minutes, which I've sent you an email invite to, but you can also just head straight back to our website to join in on that one as well. So that's everything for today's second session. Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining, Adam, and thanks again to the visitors. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.